In this episode, I'm going to be showing you some of the benefits of paying just a little bit more for your socks. There are no money saving tips here. All I'm trying to do with this episode is just raise some awareness about some alternatives to conventional socks. And if you find this valuable, please support the channel by just recommending this channel to one person. Thank you very much. In part 1, link in the show notes, I shared some ideas about what to do with socks instead of just sewing them up or throwing them away. And the impetus behind that episode was the fact that I can't sew and I don't have the time to sew. In this episode, as I said at the beginning, we're going to be looking at buying different kinds of socks that are basically of better quality, more environmentally friendly, and hopefully just last a little bit longer. I do want to say at the beginning of this episode that I'm aware of, say, H&M, where you can buy 5 pair of socks for like $18 US. But what I want to do is show some alternatives so that we can get a sense of the true cost of owning something as simple as footwear. The price on the shelf isn't always the best way to understand a particular product. We've got to look into the long-term ownership of such things. I know it's not like owning an iMac where you try and weigh the pros and cons versus a PC, but if we take that approach by looking at socks, maybe we'll come out ahead if we buy something that is of better quality. With that true cost, there needs to come a better understanding of the differences between all the different fabrics that we use in our socks. We're going to be comparing cotton, wool, polyester, and bamboo. I'm not an expert myself. I just read about it, thought it was interesting, and I basically tried to summarize what I've read into this video, and then you can use this as a launch pad into exploring different options, if you have the time, of course. So let's start with cotton. Simply put, cotton is cheaper than the other materials I'm going to mention. It's also breathable and soft. Wool is a good insulator even when wet. Wool is also more durable but costs more. Polyester is a form of plastic, so it won't biodegrade. It isn't breathable, so your feet will sweat more as opposed to wearing something like cotton. Bamboo, as what it says here, supposedly beats the 3 other materials and includes a natural antibacterial agent called bamboo kun. That's K-U-N. A good test would be to buy 1 pair of socks for each material. Take the time to wear them equally. I might even try to mismatch them to see over the longer term how they fare in comparison. That means I have to jot down how many times I wear them, things like that. I'll do all that kind of work, and what will happen eventually is I'll try and do a zero wasting socks part 3. Now that I've provided that short brief, what I'm going to do is provide a rundown of some alternative sock companies trying to do something for the environment. This comes from a blog post, however, not from me. It's not all my original research. This comes from a man called Zero Waste Man from zerowasteman.com/socks that give back. In his research on finding the perfect socks, he came across companies that give back to the community. He created some criteria, and this is what he lists as being important. A, they've got to be an ethical company. B, companies that give back to the community. C, only using the natural materials. And D, treat their employees fair and pay them fairly. From his blog post, I wanted to highlight a few of them. My focus isn't the same as his, as my focus is on your wallet. So some of these that I mention will do the things that he looked at, but again, mine is about trying to save you money. The H&M socks that I mentioned earlier, those that are cheaper, do they actually last longer? What I want to do is go deeper on the pricing and what are the trade-offs versus conventional socks. Let's start with Smartwool, who not only make socks. Smartwool.com have socks that start from $10.95. This is their environmental page. They use recycled wool. Besides the price, wool socks stink less because the fibers absorb the odor-causing bacteria. As a side benefit, less stink means you're washing your clothes less and you're saving on water. So it can be argued you're saving money by buying these, if not directly, because the socks are a little bit more in price than conventional socks. The next company is boldsocks.com. They have socks that start from $6 US, and that's because they seem to have a permanent clearance section on the website. If it is just price you're interested in, then this is probably the best out of the ones I'm going to mention. They use cotton, but they want to improve the manufacturing processes with cotton so it's less harmful to the planet, while also giving back to local communities. The next website is maggiesorganics.com, and the socks start from $15 US a pair. The only one to use cotton in this selection, but it's organic cotton. Their sustainability page cites some heavy sources, and they intend on using cotton in the most environmentally friendly way as possible. They are the second cheapest in this group, offering value packs, 3 pairs for $24. The next brand is awesomebrand.com. They have socks that start from $16 US. This company uses upcycled processes to make their product. This Osim makes socks made from other types of clothing, so it's a closed loop process. And if you don't know what a closed loop process is, it's basically taking something that's already been manufactured and making it into something else. Therefore, you're not using newer raw materials to make something else. So buying their product means you're helping to prevent the throwing away of fabrics. By buying Osim, you're helping the fashion industry use less water, less dye, so these chemicals aren't being dumped into the water, and you're reducing textile waste. The next two companies are offering socks that are made of bamboo. The first one is gorilla-socks.com. They have pairs of socks starting at $17 US, and it is an Italian company offering bamboo socks. The second one is nickharry.com, and they have bamboo socks that begin at $12 a pair. I put them together because nickharry.com has a page that provides a succinct breakdown of why bamboo is the best material. As a bonus link, there is a link in the show notes comparing wool to cotton to bamboo to polyester. So it's not really talking about socks, it's just focusing on the materials that we would use for any kinds of clothing, I guess, and it weighs the pros and cons. Now, as this is the video version, it already means that the podcast version has been out, and there's even a Twitter thread about this. So you didn't actually have to watch this entire video to get the information. You can just go to the Twitter account. Link is in the show notes. But basically, at a later date, what I'll do is I'll try to review some of these kinds of products so that we can get a better sense for wanting to spend our money on possibly something that's going to cost us some more, because I know there's always some trepidation instead of just going for something that's in the local shop. For me, the only downside is that these companies don't make toe socks. I prefer those because they separate the toes. Since I'm buying Injinju socks, they're kind of expensive anyway on a per pair basis. So I'm not going to be going out of my way to spend more money. So I'm only going to get a few pair of socks and then switch back to the toe socks. Sorry, if you think I'm going on a deep dive about this, it's because I think foot health is really important, not just for environmental reasons, but for our own health reasons. I was happy to discover in my research, though, that Injinju do use, in part, merino wool for one of their product lines, and that's a higher quality wool, and one of the other brands uses it as well. Foot health, it seems, for Injinju is a higher consideration than environmental health. I say that with no ill will, because no one single company can do everything. This is why we should invest in different brands. Different brands have different ideals, and if we shop around, then obviously we can try and pick and choose what we think are the best. And that's what I'm going to do at a later date. So that's basically it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Again, if you liked it, hit the like button. If you loved it, I guess sub, and just tell one of your friends about it. Again, all the links in the show notes. Thanks for watching.